Test, test, test. Great morning, everyone. My name is Shante. My last name is Sachet with Office Tools. And today we will be going over document management. If I can just quickly have anyone please, just respond as far as within the chat. I would just like to do a test in reference to the audio. Is the audio coming across clear? Are you able to hear? Please. Test, test, test. One, two, three. Great. I have received a response, and this is a perfect time for us to go ahead and get started. Once again, my name is Shante. My last name is Sachet, and I'll be the instructor for today's session. If in fact you have questions in reference to document management as we move forward, feel free to present your question via chat. Everyone on today's call is on mute, giving everyone an opportunity to be able to hear, understand, in reference to the training. Today, I'm currently logged in to my Office Tools product. And for today's session, just to recap, we'll be going over document management, how to get documents into Office Tools, how to manage as far as this process, and any questions you may come up with as we move forward. So let's go ahead and get started. As I'm currently logged into Office Tools, the first place I would like to call your attention to will be the global settings for documents. To pull back these options, or to pull up these options for configuration, as you're logged into the Office Tools product at the top, you will find Setup. And if you select on Setup, you can then come to My Company, Information and Settings. The My Company Information and Settings window will appear, and from here we can select on Documents. Now, the document settings window that is now open for configuration, once again, these are the global settings for document management. Here you can choose your document management folder location. So when bringing in documents, as far as into Office Tools, where should these documents be stored? From here, document management folder. You can create that path by selecting on the ellipsis button to the right and then creating that path. But before you'd want to do this, what you'd actually want to do is establish and create your drag and drop folder. It is as simple as coming to your desktop. Let's show the desktop here, and creating a folder. We can now come to New Folder. Title this folder whatever you would like. I'm going to title this Test Folder 0 T for Office Tools, and now we have our drop folder. If we come back to Office Tools, that setting, Document Management, from here, this ellipsis button, we can now open the drop down from our PC and actually look for that folder to create as far as that path. Once we have that path, now at this point in time, as whenever you would drag and drop documents into Office Tools, here is where you can find and locate those documents. So to kind of give you a better understanding from the document settings or the global settings for document management here is where you would create that path for your document management folder. You may also configure as far as the archive folder, as well as any Word templates that you would like to use when creating your documents. And we'll go over this shortly. We may also use account numbers for our file names, or we can also even manage document subfolders as well. Coming into other options, you also have some options such as, when adding files, copy existing files to the appropriate document management subfolder, create PDF when invoices are printed to DMS, automatically create document management folders when creating a new contact. Once again, this would be considered global settings. Once it has been configured, you'd pretty much would leave this alone, of course, unless there's any changes internally within your office. Maybe you would like to create a different path. Once you're done, please feel free to select on OK to allow those changes to take place. After configuring as far as your drop folder, another best practice would be to log off of Office Tools, log back in to allow everything to synchronize correctly. Now let's move forward to some other options as far as configuring your document management. We can now first come up to Setup and then come down to Documents. We actually went over as far as creating that drop folder. However, from Setup, Documents, we can also create the drop folder right from here as well. By selecting on that ellipsis button, we have that folder created as far as on our desktop. Finding that folder, we can say Desktop here. There is that test folder, Office Tools, and then OK. Now select OK. Whenever we drag and drop in documents into Office Tools, those documents we would also be able to find here. Coming back up to the Setup tab, Documents. Drop folder we actually covered. Well, now let's cover as far as categories. These are the categories that you can actually use when bringing in documents into Office Tools. The reason why I'm calling your attention to this, take a look at these categories by title. Do they make sense in reference to your office? Are these the titles that you would be using as far as to categorize the documents you plan on bringing into Office Tools for your clients? If the list looks good, great, no need to adjust. If there are titles on this list that you know you're not going to be using, please note, it's cluttering up as far as this particular dropdown. Feel free to go ahead and remove. If, in fact, we need to add in other titles that you plan on using that you do not see, it is as simple as selecting on Add and adding in the document categories by title. A little bit of homework, but once it is set, once again, you're done with this. Last but not least, or coming towards the end, Setup, Documents. We're then going to come to File Names. I'm going to create some template file names. I'm actually going to create two. You can create as many as necessary, and then when adding in documents as far as into Office Tools, you can use these template document file names if necessary. The first document name I'm going to use would be test doc 1 and then OK. If need be, we can also even add in merge fields as well. And then we'll add in one other, test doc 2. OK. And now that has been configured in reference to template file names to use when creating or bringing in documents into OfficeTools. Okay, so now let's go ahead and actually speak about document management. We actually covered as far as global settings. Once that is set, you're ready to go. To actually bring in a document for a specific client into OfficeTools as a best practice, keep in mind on your left side of the actual application, this is the contact list. Here's where you're going to find all of your contacts, your vendors, your prospects, and so forth. All of your contacts are here. To begin, let's make sure we select on the appropriate contact. I'm going to use ABC Company as my example. The next thing we're going to actually do is come to the Documents tab here. Now, from this particular view, we're going to cover as far as bringing in documents, and it is very simple. From this particular view, we are able to actually drag and drop in documents right now into OfficeTools. However, I would like to demonstrate and give you a visual of the process. So this would also be equivalent to selecting on your Documents tab. Now, from the toolbar, each tab will have a unique toolbar to allow you to take action within that tab. If we're dealing with ABC Company, this is the client. I may now select on Add. Click here to add a document. I can now select on Create New Document. OfficeTools will then provide to me Create New Document as far as pop-up, allowing me to be able to create this document. I want to make sure the appropriate company name is set. OfficeTools will populate the contact that is selected from the contact list. Depending on your level of experience as far as within OfficeTools, even at this particular time, as a heads up or a shortcut, if ABC Company is not the client I'm looking to bring this document into, I can open this drop down. Under Company, you'll notice this list will match the list that you see from your contact list. On the fly, we may also change what company we're going to associate this document we're actually bringing into OfficeTools if necessary. Now, there are 3 filters that you can use when bringing in documents. These filters would be the year. What year is this document going to be from? 2018. The project. Let's use 1040 individual tax, as well as the category. And I'm going to call this, let's say, tax returns. Now, from this point moving forward, the file name. When I open the drop down here, you can see test1 doc, excuse me, or test2 doc. These are the templates you can create and then associate the template by title to the document name. Now, this is not mandatory, it's an option, and we all love options. To configure this within your documents, please note, you would need to create file names as demonstrated prior to where we are now. I can use the template title, or I can choose not to. As you can see, the path has been associated based on the configuration from our global settings. And if need be, I can also add in notes to support this document that I'm actually importing into OfficeTools. By default, the staff that is actually doing this, admin, that would be me today, the individual that is logged in. And I can also associate what type of file this actually is. I can make it private, read only, but in this case, I can now select on OK. The file name is required. Let's give that the file name, test1 document, and then OK. Excuse me, file name is down below. We need to give it a unique name. And I'll title this DMS Doc Test 2. And then OK. And now we're able to actually grab that Word document. And I'm just going to put test, test, test. Let's save this. So that is one option. Another option as far as to bring in documents is simply to drag and drop in the document. So if in fact I come back to my desktop and I have a sample document, and I'll just use this trainer's input test. Pull up my Office tools. Let's move it over to the right. As you can see, I can grab this file, simply drag it over while I'm in the Documents tab for the client selected. A file name may not contain any of the following characters. Please rename this file. OK. And this is calling my attention to the previous one. So we can just come here and just give me one moment here. And I'm now going to just select on a different client. Come to my Documents tab. I'm still here. Now let's quickly minimize this so we can see. We'll show the desktop. Bring back up Office Tools. Drag and drop. And what Office Tools is calling my attention to, it's saying the file name may not contain any of the following characters, special characters. Please rename this file. I'm going to select on OK, and I can just choose actually a different file. Let's use this test one, and that way, for the sake of time, drag it in. And if you notice, create new document window appears, which would be equivalent to cancel documents, selecting on the plus add create new document. That same window will appear. So there's two options as far as you can take to get to the same end result by selecting on the Documents tab for the client that you are referring to, or actually just dragging and dropping the document right into the Documents tab, just as demonstrated. Once again, making sure the company name is set, the appropriate year, we'll say 2018. The project, we can associate company, or excuse me, category. In this case, we'll say invoices. Give it a name, and we can even use a template file name if necessary. Please note, if in fact there are notes that need to be associated to this document, to populate those notes within as far as the notes field here. I can now select on OK, and as you can see, the document. From here, I may now have this document for this particular client of Office Tools within Office Tools, and it's imported. Now, please keep in mind, when adding a document into Office Tools, you'll be able to get the year, the project, and the category as just demonstrated. Once this is in Office Tools, you may then use the year, project, and category here for filtering purposes. Another option, and it's throughout as far as the product of Office Tools, the drag and drop feature, such as while the appropriate contact has been selected, Office Tools, I can come to my notes. If I was looking to note this particular contact, when selecting on the plus for notes, please note you may also drag and drop documents from the notes, from your to-dos and tasks, as well as calls, schedule, or even projects. If in fact you are not viewing this, maybe in the to-do, I can see the checklist. However, if in fact from the toolbar I select on add the to-do, now you would be able to view where you can drag and drop the document to be able to support the to-do or task for the staff member that this task is going to be set for. And now, in reference to the chat, based on what has been covered, what questions do you have that you can submit via the chat? I also want to make sure that it's clear. When dragging and dropping in documents into Office Tools, these documents will be stored in their native format in a Windows folder format. And at any given time, if need be, based on where you have set that path for your document management, you may find as far as those documents located there. Now, I would like to actually just recap as far as the document management. Your left side, making sure you select the appropriate contact that you're looking to work for. After that contact has been selected, document management, we now know from the toolbar we can select on add, create, new document, and or we may just drag and drop right in this particular view, and that same window will also appear. Some best practices to note. If in fact you do have a document, from the toolbar, you may also choose to copy this document to a new document if necessary as well. There are some offices that also like the ability or the option to install from documents, selecting on the appropriate contact, now using the toolbar. In the toolbar, you will see an option titled Install. If in fact you're looking to install a PDF printer driver, we can come to Install, selecting on PDF printer driver, and now selecting on Install driver. When selecting on install driver, from here, you can now configure as far as next, welcome to the Office Tool PDF printer driver installation, and just go through as far as the menu. Destination folder, of course, we can browse and change this if necessary. Next, and Office Tools will actually take it from there, meaning configuring, installing this PDF printer driver. When finished, you can now select on Finish, and you'll notice this install PDF driver is now ready to go. I now have an option to, whenever I import as far as a document into Office Tools, I now have the option to select on Print and use the PDF printer driver for Office Tools and have documents actually sent there to this particular path. There's actually a lot of offices that like to have this particular configuration, providing them an option to be able to print as well as save to a PDF for document storage maybe later. Also, it is very simple to install that PDF driver, and as you are viewing this, if necessary, you may always uninstall. Well, in reference to as far as document management, we now know how to actually import in documents, drag and drop, or selecting on create new. Once you have selected on the appropriate contact, you may use year, prospect, or excuse me, project, category at the top as filters for viewing or searching for specific documents. While I'm in the Office Tools client here or contact, and for this particular example, if this client had, let's say, 20 or 30 different documents from several different types of years, I can say Office Tools, I'm only looking to view documents for 2018 from this particular year associated to this category of invoices. And as you can see, 2018 is my only option, along with the category of invoices, hence to why those are my only two options. The more that I introduce to Office Tools, the more I would be able to filter on and quickly sort to find the appropriate document I am looking to pull up or send to the client. Now, the categories. This is something I also would like to cover as well. Looking at our time, we're great on time. Setup. If we come now back to documents and then categories. If you notice, these are the categories that you can currently use out of the box in Office Tools. If these categories are up to par, meaning the categories that you would be storing your documents under, wonderful, there's no adjustments that need to be made here. However, if in fact there are categories that you know that you're going to be using and you do not see the category by title, feel free to select on Add and then add in the category. As I selected and chose invoices, you can see invoices being an option. However, if you're looking for a specific title, we need to first create it. Office Tools will have a record of this, allowing us to associate this new title to the appropriate document based on the category. Document management within Office Tools is very simple to use with those options as far as a PDF printer driver installed and then sending to that driver or that printer. Selecting on the plus while you're in the Documents tab, or simply coming to the Documents tab and dragging and dropping in that document. At this point in time, this will come to the conclusion of document management. Please note, feel free to register for the next upcoming Thursday's event or Thursdays to come. All Thursday sessions are recorded. Therefore, you are able to look at past titles or topics and even listen to the recorded session. I do thank everyone so much for their time. If you are new to Office Tools, welcome. You may now disconnect. This concludes document management.